Welcome to a special video I've been wanting to do for a long time, over a year. It's going to be comparing two bikes, and I have with me today a fellow lover of the older stuff, Andy.
Hi everybody, I've been riding mountain bikes since the early 90s. I got into the industry about the same time and started sweeping shop floors after school, and I wound up taking that and leading a product development team for a mountain bike manufacturer. I have survived cycling fads from bolt-on rear suspension to fat bikes. It's been quite a ride, and I have been absolutely fascinated by the changes even in the last 10 years, let alone the last 30 when it comes to your bike.
Bikes are completely different now?
Yes.
No. Some of each. That's what we're here to talk about, using two bikes separated by over 30 years, but the same rider. We're going way back to the 90s with the Clark Kent. We're going to contrast and compare to the Esker. These bikes are interesting, separated by about 30 years, over 30 years, in the same rider, me. What? Yes, this was one of my early mountain bikes, my second one. So this is from the early 90s. Good ride and steel. It has plenty of steel. This came out of the Front Range in Colorado. Was impressed by a bike out of Salida, Colorado by Mike Rust and Don McClung called the Shorty. That's what this one is short. So I like that design. Notice its front end's tied up really short here. Good for
Climbing.
Climbing. And the Colorado, if you don't know, it's got that stuff called scree on the Front Range, the Rocky Mountains crumbling, falling apart, tucking that wheel under you, let you climb like nothing. But Andy, what's the problem up front?
Well, it's not going to be super stable on the descents. We'll talk about that in a little bit here.
A little longer stem. Got to have a long stem here if you're going to have that back end tucked up under there. Notice the above chainstay. So yeah, plenty of metal here, plenty of steel. That's the frame. What do we ride now?
Well, this is a carbon frame. You can see it's pretty different than the steel frame. Basically, this uses straight tubes, whereas pretty much every square millimeter of this is specifically optimized to function in a certain way. It couldn't look more different either. I mean, it's curvy and organic, and this is all straight lines.
Yeah. Moving on to the front end, the fork. Early, beautiful thing. The shock fork.
Yes.
This is the RS21, the Mag 21. Much tuning here. And you got air pressure. You got some porting with your dials. You got some viscosity changes you can make. Not a lot going on otherwise. One thing about this, though, of course, it was early. It was beautiful. You had to have them.
Oh, they were, yeah. When they came out, they were great. Yeah.
It saved your life, for sure.
100%.
But the front end is interesting here. Check out the hub here. That's your normal 9mm axle.
Yep.
This little bridge here. What do we have here?
Well, we've got a bunch of differences here. We have a very thick through axle. Okay, we have the air spring is only in one of these legs. That one had to have the same air pressure in both legs, otherwise it wouldn't function quite right. So basically, infinitely adjustable. You have compression and rebound damping here, and you also have rebound adjustment here, all external. With this one, to change the rebound, you had to change the oil, which was not terribly difficult, but still annoying at the same time.
My favorite part, check out this part of the fork stanchion here.
Yeah.
It's bigger than the biggest tube on this bike.
Yeah, they measured almost the exact same diameter, actually, which is pretty funny.
Yeah. So the fork, huge differences.
Yep.
Moving on up, though, we talked about the stem, quite a stem, lots of little pieces, and threaded headset. You ride what brung you. That's what we had, that's what we rode. It's a custom stem, long, it's a Yamaguchi stem, lots of parts, up to a skinny bar. Oh, and then I know my favorite here, we'll see this. Look at that width. Well, then we're gonna come to these. So the front end, what's kind of fun are these custom bar ends. That was the era of bar ends. So, but why the bar ends? I did a lot of climbing here, a lot of climbing. Why? I wanted more weight on the front end because that thing, it would come up on you like a Paco. Keeping the weight up here. And then these, what are these little plumbing pieces? Yes. 7/8 tubing, 22 millimeter is a plumbing piece. That's a nice brush guard. The single track in Colorado then, there ain't no machine built.
No.
A deer got through it and not much else. Plenty of brush hitting you all over. So nice brush guard. And yes, brake lever extensions, you bet.
So here we have a very simple and nice aluminum stem. It consists of, I think, 8 pieces if you count all the hardware. I think that one is 17 different pieces. Oversized clamp for stiffness and control. Light, stiff, nice wide handlebars. And again, we're going to disagree on this, but I definitely like my wide handlebars for the leverage and added fine control that you get. However, some people may feel differently.
I've been waiting for this video for over a year now just to have this discussion because I get to cut these. I didn't want to cut these yet because I wanted to have this video. Now, audience, you're going to do this. Check out these shoulders. Check out these shoulders and tell me I want the same width handlebar.
He's exactly right. Not everybody needs to ride 800 millimeter handlebars, but if you can, they're really nice.
Yeah. Tip for you parents with young kids. If your kid's bar width is longer than the saddle height, there's a problem.
Good ratio, I like that.
Yeah. Gearing, big change, yes. And I did like my old gearing. It is a 2x. Wasn't really made that way. Yes, that is a Sante front derailleur, you will notice. 2x with 24 little bitty back here. 8. Do you really need more? Well, apparently we all do. This thing was geared way down. Let's give you some numbers. We got a 22 here, 32 back here. If I am pedaling about 60 RPMs, I'm moving about 3 miles an hour, but I am moving.
It's true. I got to check my notes here because there are a lot of numbers. So this is a 34 tooth, 1x, 10 down here, 52 up here.
Yep.
Biggest gear, top speed at 90 RPMs, 26 miles an hour.
Yep, this one flies.
This one does go fast. It likes to go fast. Lowest gear, 60 RPM, 5 miles an hour. And yours was?
3.
3.
Right.
Okay.
What's wrong with that? 5 is great. You got the horsepower to put in it. 26 miles an hour down single track on here. Scary.
Yes.
That's not what this bike was for. Oh, and then we left out one of our favorite differences.
Oh.
Give us a tape measure, Andy.
Oh yeah, this is fun.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
So up here, wheel to wheel, center to center, what do we have?
39 inches.
39 inches.
39. Almost exactly 49 inches.
Yes. Longer. This bike's a lot longer, and definitely some of that in the wheels.
Yeah, the 10-inch difference in wheelbase is just amazing, and that speaks to the higher speed stability of newer bikes and the increased capabilities of the frame and geometry as well.
Right, going fast, not going so fast, but can go up.
Yes.
Now, back to the shifting a bit. This one's kind of fun. Both SRAM. Click here, got my twist grip, early twist grip up here, but this was a nice feature we'll give you a close-up on. The bass worm.
The bass worm.
Clever little innovation. We're out there in the muck and the yuck, and things are sticky and not working so good. So it's like your little friend back here is always pulling on the cable to help this thing shift. So let's go ahead and give that a little up, down. So that's been a lot of fun, the bass worm. Nowadays, you don't see it. You've got full internal cables. So
internal cable, and the other big thing too is we have these nice strong springs.
Yeah.
And we also have, some derailleurs have clutches that you can turn on and off and adjust. That is huge for chain retention, obviously. One of the reasons we can have a 1x drivetrain.
That's right.
Yep.
That's right. So moving on to those wheels, 26. That's what we had. And if you look at the width on this thing, it looks like we have a gravel tire.
Those are narrower than my gravel bike tires.
Yeah. So these are these even 1.9s, but that's pretty much what I could do here. And the same on the back, the clearance right here. You're going to see some chewed up paint. That's from all the mud I would get here, dragging it through the frame. So not a lot going on here. Small, that's as big as I could get. This beastie
Well, 29. It's basically close to the standard as a wheel size as you can get mountain biking. 2.6-inch tires, way wider, larger volume, more tread on the ground. And then you also have much wider rims, which allows the tire to have a nice curved shape to it as well.
Right.
These are carbon, just like the frame, shaped specifically. I think it's really cool that newer rims are becoming more shaped like this to really take advantage of the capabilities of carbon. Just didn't see that until a few years ago, which has been super interesting to follow. But
right.
Lighter, bigger, stiffer, works better.
Everything you could want.
Pretty much.
And of course, on this one, we've got discs, but I have got disc brakes too, don't I?
It is a 26-inch disc, I'll give you that.
It is the biggest rotor you could ever get on the rim. So I have hydraulic brakes. These are the Magura brakes. Nice, strong, very smooth, no cable drag here. You hit it, and then your control is simply your squeeze here, not a lot of modulation. Yep. You got to watch yourself, but definitely very, very powerful. But you're going to be chewing through your rotor. Your aluminum rotor, you get some grit in there, it's going to do some grinding.
And it'll definitely make some fun noises for you too.
Yeah. And again, the extensions here were actually kind of fun because descending, being a roadie, descending on my hoods, these are my hoods. I could feather the brakes, come down those trails. Nice. So I did like that extension, and of course my bell out there as well.
For this bike, you have SRAM brakes, uses the same brake fluid that's in a car, hydraulic system. Very similar to the system here, and actually I think it's pretty cool that these are still working. These are pretty old and they still feel really good. You have a nice brake rotor, which gives you consistent stopping power compared to a rim brake. It's a lot more consistent.
Especially in the wet.
Especially in the wet, yes, 100% in the wet. Way better functioning than the rim brake.
One thing I don't think we covered that was a lot of fun at the time, and no, it's really not suspension, but it was all the rage. Thud Buster. Well, what is this thing? Well, it's a parallelogram. It's a rear derailleur. You would hit a bump, this would move back. It basically takes the little kick in the butt out a little bit. You're kicking the rear from a rock that you just hit. Is it suspension? No, it is not. You suspend the bike, not the passenger. The bike should be suspended. So this one, cushy.
Yep. Well, you have your rear suspension. You actually have engineered rear suspension, which makes, obviously, again, a huge difference compared to something like that. Yeah. You also have the added benefit of a dropper seat post, which, again, moves out of the way. You're pretty much set for height on that one. This one you can adjust on the fly. It's fantastic.
That's right. Pedals, a big part of what gets us going. This pedal is really the one I actually started on. Yes, toe clips, Andy. You got to commit.
They worked.
I was a roadie. It's what we had, right? You dance with the one that brung you. But sometimes out mountain biking, you don't hit it just right, so I bolted a piece of tire on the bottom. Oh, I was going to be clever. Then let me flip on in. And that lasted a while, and I figured I'm going to get those fancy SPD things. These were certainly better. What I did on these that I enjoyed for a while, 2 different settings. I would color code one side, so looser if I wasn't quite sure of that descent, or tight if I really wanted to commit and stay with that bike. So,
well, here on the Esker, it appears to be the exact same thing as that, just 30 years newer, and undoubtedly a little bit more functional as far as being able to clear out mud and probably adjustability as well.
Yeah, it's just a pedal. I just learned that's all it is. So 2 bikes, same rider, 30 years apart. Do you think these changes are worth it? 100%.
You have definitely some added complexity, but the amount of capability that you've added is beyond comparison.
I would have to agree. The shifting, the handling, this one I know has saved my life. This one, I saved my life. Both bikes are great. It's good to know where you came from, but don't be afraid to change.
That's right.